My wife's unforgettable first love returned to the country, and I asked her for a divorce. She sneered, "Do you think you can survive without me?" But in the end, the one who couldn't survive was her, and the one who came back begging was still her. Chapter 1. Camila and I have been married for 12 years. I've taken care of her for 12 years, down to every little detail. Since her grandfather passed away, the vast wealth and responsibilities of the Mu family fell on her shoulders. Camila's grandfather was the man who saved my life, a man I respected deeply. Before his death, he asked me to marry Camila, and I agreed. Camila has been spoiled and isn't capable of much. I beg you, for the sake of my years of kindness to you, please help me, help her too. This was the first time the old man ever used his favor to pressure me, and I had no choice but to nod. Camila's grandfather passed away right after we finished our wedding. As soon as he passed, internal strife erupted within the Mu family corporation. Not only that, Camila's uncles all took advantage of the fact that she was just a woman and began seizing the family's assets. Because of this, I had to calculate every step to protect Camila and the Mu family. After that, everyone laughed at me, calling me the loyal dog of the Mu family. There were countless assassination attempts, but I didn't care. Mu's grandfather saved my life, and repaying him was my duty. I wanted to live a peaceful life with Camila, but she was convinced I was only after her family's wealth. I tried several times to kindly persuade her to join me in learning how to manage the company. She mocked, "Isn't the whole reason my father left you behind to manage the company? You just need to watch over the company properly and stop meddling in my affairs." Once, after I pulled her out of the arms of those men in the club, she got angry. "Aren't you done yet, James? Do you really think just because we got married, you're my husband? Dream on, you're just the steward my father left me. Know your place, and stop causing trouble." From that day on, I knew Camila never intended to live a proper life with me, nor would she ever change her ways. I was involved in a car accident due to retaliation from the Mu family's rival. I called Camila, asking her to stay at the company for just 2 days. "James, are you a woman? Clinging on like this, is it fun?" She hung up, blacklisted my number, and never once came to see me in the hospital. I had no choice but to continue working through the pain. She left the entire Mu family's business on my shoulders without a care. She was confident in her father's life-saving favor toward me and acted without fear. Over the years, I slowly reclaimed the businesses that were taken when the old man passed. I gradually restored the Mu family to its former glory. I thought that this would be the rest of our lives, civil, without bothering each other. But for some reason, she suddenly returned home, playing the role of a virtuous wife and loving mother. Chapter 2. After a few days at the villa, Camila's phone was constantly blowing up with calls from her friends. At the dinner table, I glanced at her. "Aren't you going out?" She turned off her phone. "What? You don't want me to stay at home?" I ignored her and started working. "This is your home. You can stay wherever you want." She looked at me with displeasure. "James, don't you notice something different about me today?" I raised an eyebrow and looked at her, puzzled. She bit her lip. "I got a new haircut and even changed into a new nightgown. And you didn't even notice?" Only then did I see that she was wearing a deep V-lace dress, her legs long and straight. "I see. It looks nice." She suddenly leaned closer, the scent of her perfume filling my nose. She batted her eyes and smiled seductively. "So, who looks better, me or Laura?" "Laura." I suddenly realized why she had been staying home so often lately. The business between the Mu family and the Lin family was managed by Laura. After the partnership ended, she asked if I would be interested in joining Lin Corporation. "Camila doesn't appreciate what she has. If you join me, I won't let your talent go to waste." Laura was not only young and beautiful but also intelligent. To me, she would have been the perfect partner, but I had already made a promise to Camila's grandfather. I couldn't break my word, so I rejected Laura. Camila poked me. "Answer me. Who looks better, me or Laura?" Not wanting her to delay my work, I replied absent-mindedly, "You look better." Camila was immediately delighted. She dressed up beautifully and went out. I thought she would finally return to her old habit of being gone for 10 days at a time, but to my surprise, she came back that night and bought me lots of clothes and shoes. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't surprised. Even though our marriage was arranged by her grandfather, I had long given up on any hope of affection from her. But after all, we were married, and being friends or business partners who could live peacefully wasn't too bad. At least the surface was calm. This peaceful life lasted for 8 years. Camila truly played the role of a good wife and mother for 8 years. Just when I thought this could last forever, Ethan appeared. He was Camila's unforgettable first love, the man who occupied her entire youth. No one who came after could ever surpass him. I had seen the men Camila drank with in those clubs, and they all had one thing in common: they all looked like Ethan. Chapter 3. The day Ethan returned to the country, I was accompanying Camila for a checkup at the hospital. We had been trying for 3 years before we finally had this child. I was overjoyed. working from home every day, afraid that the housekeeper might not take care of her well enough. I specifically hired someone to learn how to cook dishes that pregnant women love. After Camila became pregnant, her figure gradually changed, which often made her cry and throw tantrums. I felt sorry for her and did everything I could to cheer her up. After each outburst, she would look at me with red eyes and say, "Honey, I'm sorry. Please don't be mad at me." Looking at her delicate, childlike face, my heart softened little by little. Just when I thought my life was about to become perfect, Ethan effortlessly took everything from me. Chapter 4. After the checkup, Camila seemed distracted. Her hand holding the phone turned pale, and she forced a smile at me. "Honey, you should go home first. I have a class reunion this afternoon, and I might be back late." I felt uneasy. "I'll drive you there." "No need. Honey, let the driver take me. I want to have your coconut chicken soup when I get home. Can you make it for me?" She pouted playfully at me, and I couldn't help but smile. All right. It took 5 hours to make the coconut chicken soup, and she would be home in time to enjoy it. The doctor said her pregnancy was stable, as long as she didn't drink alcohol. That night, when Camila came home, her eyes were red. I brought the coconut chicken soup to her. "Try it. I don't want it anymore." I coaxed her gently. "Just one sip." "Okay, I've been working on it all afternoon." Suddenly, she got angry and threw the bowl. I said, "I don't want it. Can't you understand?" She cried and ran upstairs, leaving me stunned. The soup had scalded the back of my hand, turning it red. That night, I saw photos from the class reunion posted by Camila's friend on social media. The person sitting next to Camila was none other than Ethan, who had been abroad for years. Chapter 5. Ethan and Camila were childhood sweethearts. They were well matched in every way, and with so many years of affection between them, they should have been engaged. In the photo, Ethan was wearing a white shirt, with gold-rimmed glasses perched on his nose, his gaze fixed on Camila, restrained yet full of longing. He had that youthful charm Camila had always liked, something I no longer possessed. After years of ruthless business battles, my heart had grown cold and hard, devoid of youthful innocence. Ethan's parents had always wanted him to be engaged to Camila. Since Camila was the only daughter of the Mu family and not particularly capable, marrying her meant the entire Mu family would become part of the Lu family. Camila's grandfather saw through this and refused to allow their marriage, insisting on seeing Camila marry me before he passed away. Now, with Camila's grandfather gone and Ethan back in the country, nothing stood in their way. I went to open the bedroom door to go to sleep, but it was locked. Camila had locked the door from the inside. I went to the guest room, already prepared for Camila to change her heart. I neither fought nor argued. I only hoped that Camila would give birth to the child, who would inherit the Mu family's estate, giving her some security. This way, the Lu family wouldn't completely swallow up the Mu family and take everything from her. The child was the only lifeline I left for her and the last tie between us. Once the child was born, I would no longer owe the Mu family anything. Chapter 6. The next morning, while I was in a meeting at the company, an unexpected visitor showed up at the front desk asking for me. When I went downstairs, I saw Ethan's figure. He smiled and greeted me. "Hello, James. I'm Ethan." I hadn't expected our first confrontation to come so quietly. I gave him a careful look. Ethan looked even more distinguished in person than in the photos. His every movement exuded a natural elegance, something I couldn't hope to achieve, no matter how many years I spent fighting my way up. He invited me to a nearby private room. Once we were seated, he poured me a cup of tea. "You know about me and Camila. If it weren't for the old men bringing you in to sabotage things, she and I would have been married long ago." I nodded. "Indeed, I'm back now. And Cami still has feelings for me. I know you don't care for her. Just let her go." After saying that, he pulled out a check for 10 million and placed it in front of me. "This is your compensation." Hearing his words, I couldn't help but laugh. "Do you know what Mu Group's monthly revenue is now?" Ethan's eyes narrowed, and his smile didn't reach his eyes. "But in the end, that's Mu family business, isn't it? It has nothing to do with you. You wouldn't be thinking of taking it all for yourself, would you?" He grinned. I nodded. The old man personally placed it in front of me. "There's nothing I can do. I have to take it, even if I don't want to," I said with a touch of annoyance. Ethan's face darkened, and he sneered. "James, clinging to Cami like this is pointless. She's in love with me." He flashed a confident smile. He and Camila were childhood sweethearts, so naturally, he had confidence. They studied together, attended concerts together, traveled abroad together. Meanwhile, I was just a poor student being sponsored by the Mu family at the time. While they were enjoying life's pleasures, I was working part-time washing dishes in the cafeteria, because that's how I got 2 free meals. I had to make a $1 stretch to 2. Camila wasn't wrong. Someone like me didn't even deserve to talk to people like them. They were born with everything, and I was the outsider who took their place. My presence had always been an eyesore, but none of this was what I wanted. They couldn't have it both ways. When they needed me, they had me marry Camila. When they didn't, they wanted to kick me aside. Why should I accept that? I stared straight into Ethan's eyes, not blinking. You know what this behavior of yours is called, right? You're the male version of a homewrecker. If you can't make her happy, yet insist on keeping her by your side, you're truly disgusting. Ethan clenched his fists, furious, and tried to hit me, but I easily subdued him. An enraged fool, you really are pathetic. I let him go and turned to leave. Chapter 7. I drove home, and as soon as I opened the door, Camilla threw a cup at me, hitting me in the head. Blood flowed down my forehead. Her furious gaze froze in place as she rushed over in a panic. Why didn't you dodge? I brushed her hand away, suddenly feeling exhausted. And you, Camilla, why did you throw the cup at me? Why do you keep hurting me for no reason? I looked at her face and mentally etched it into my memory. Camilla, haven't I treated you well all these years? Or have I done something to wrong you? Can you tell me why you're doing this to me? Is it just because I owe your father my life? Do I deserve this treatment because of that? Tears suddenly streamed down her face as she anxiously grabbed my hand. No, honey, no, that's not it. It's Ethan. Ethan told me you met him today and even hit him. I laughed bitterly. So you're standing up for him, taking revenge on his behalf. Is that it? I took a step back, raising my hands to prevent her from touching me. My voice was hoarse as I turned to leave. Camilla, let's get a divorce. I'll have my secretary send you the papers. We're done. Camilla panicked and rushed to hug me from behind. You're just mad, right, honey? Once you calm down, everything will be fine, won't it? Tell me. I pried her arms off me, completely drained. I'm tired. Camilla, let's end this. Seeing the determination in my eyes, she finally realized I was serious. She cried and hit me. Don't regret this, James. I won't. I left as soon as I said it. She slammed the door behind me. Her devastated sobs echoed through the villa's doors, but I walked away without hesitation. Chapter 8. I had never slept so well. When I woke up, it was already close to the afternoon. My phone was full of missed calls from Camilla. I drove to the office and opened the door, only to find Camilla standing there. She threw the contract at my feet, raising her head and glaring at me fiercely. Didn't you want a divorce? Fine. Let's get divorced. Go ahead and sign. Camilla's delicate face showed signs of exhaustion, the dark circles under her eyes barely concealed by her heavy makeup. It looked like she hadn't slept all night. I picked up the contract and read it in a few minutes. The terms of the divorce were extremely harsh. Not only was I required to give up control and shares of Moo Group, but she also wanted to take most of my personal assets. As for the properties, not a single one was left for me. Camilla had a smug look on her face, certain that I wouldn't dare sign. My hands trembled with anger. How was this any different from being left with nothing? Seeing my trembling hand holding the contract, Camilla's tone softened involuntarily. What do you say, James? If you don't sign, we can still. Before she could finish her sentence, I had already written my name without hesitation. You're crazy, James. Camilla stared at me in disbelief, the confidence in her eyes finally gone. She was afraid now. I don't want a single cent of Moo family's money. My personal account has only a little over 80,000. If you need it, I can transfer half to you. I spoke calmly, my eyes filled with nothing but exhaustion. All these years, I had poured my heart and soul into the company and into Camilla. Aside from necessary expenses, I hadn't bought anything extra. Since Camilla wanted me to walk away with nothing, I would grant her wish. In this way, I would also repay the old man's favor completely. Seeing my resolute attitude, the reluctance in Camilla's eyes gradually turned into anger. Fine, if you want to be noble, I'll grant you that. I'd love to see how long you can last with your 80,000 once you leave Moo Group. With that, she slammed the door in a fit of rage, just like yesterday. Looking out the window at the towering buildings, I glanced at the photo of me at 18 when I was sponsored by the Moo family. Finally, I'm free. Chapter 9. Not long after leaving Moo Group, my phone started blowing up. When I saw the screenshots of Camilla's post in her social media, I couldn't help but laugh. This was so Camilla. In her post, she announced that she had divorced me and warned that anyone who helped me would be going against her. Still as childish as ever, I turned off my phone and walked into a quiet bar on the side of the road. The burning liquid slid down my throat. The colorful lights flickered over my body, making me uncomfortable. Camilla never liked me drinking, so after we got married, even when I had to drink for business, I'd wash myself multiple times before daring to enter the house. But today, I could drink to my heart's content, because I no longer had to care about her. I no longer had to care about anyone. I was finally free. From now on, I could live the way I wanted, and no one could morally manipulate me anymore. Mr. Liu, what brings you here for a drink today? Aren't you in a hurry to go home and accompany your wife? I looked up to see a pair of playful eyes staring at me. Laura was watching me with amusement. The overhead lights cast a warm glow on her, and after half a year without seeing her, She looked even more graceful and gentle. I'm divorced, I said calmly. What? You're divorced? Laura asked with feigned surprise. Seeing her act so shocked, I couldn't help but laugh. Your acting is terrible. She smiled helplessly. I was just worried you might take it too hard. Everyone knows you're famous in our circle for pampering your wife. Yes, everyone knew, except for Camila. She took it for granted, pushing me further and further. When the old man passed away, almost everyone thought that Moo Group falling into my hands was like a sheep entering a tiger's den, and that it wouldn't be long before I divorced Camila and took over the Moo family's assets. But I didn't. Step by step, I carried Moo Group on my shoulders, doing everything I could to protect Camila. Even Laura once said that if I were her husband, the Lin family would have dominated the capital by now. But why couldn't Camila understand? Let it go. Losing you is Camila's loss. Laura comforted me and filled her glass with wine. I pointed a finger at her, and she looked at me in confusion. This bottle costs 10,000. You poured about a tenth. Transfer the money or cash. Hearing my words, Laura couldn't help but burst into laughter. Are you bankrupt? I smiled at her through my drunken haze. I walked away with nothing. I downed the rest of my drink in one gulp and passed out in her arms the next moment. Chapter 10. When I woke up, my head was splitting. Out of habit, I grabbed my phone, ready to head to work. Wait. Wasn't I drinking with Laura last night? How did I end up in bed? My eyes shot open. The room's decor was warm and inviting, with a hint of peach-scented perfume in the air. Hearing that I was awake, Laura entered the room with breakfast. You're awake? I quickly put on my clothes, apologized to Laura, and tried to leave. What's this, James? You sleep in my bed, and now you want to just walk away. Laura suddenly blocked my way, her tone assertive. Since you have nowhere else to go, why don't you help me manage my family subsidiary? How about it? She smiled, wearing the same confident look she always had during negotiations when she knew she had the upper hand. I thought it over calmly. At this point, I had nowhere else to go. Camila and our mutual friends had made it clear where they stood. Laura was definitely the best choice. I want 30% of the company's shares. Laura smiled happily. Deal. She tapped the table beside her, her eyes curving into a smile. Now, let's eat. Chapter 11. Laura generously provided me with all the resources she had. Taking over the new company went much more smoothly than when I first started handling Moo Group's business. It wasn't even close. She practically handed the subsidiary over to me entirely, and I didn't disappoint her. In just 3 months, the company's revenue increased nearly tenfold. I became incredibly busy, dealing with countless issues at the office every day. As I was reviewing the latest financial reports, I heard a commotion at the door. Camila barged in angrily, pushing the door open with force. The secretary following behind kept apologizing, explaining that she couldn't stop her. James, how could you get involved with Laura? And you're helping the Lin family attack our Moo family's business. Do you have any idea how much our revenue dropped this month? Her voice was sharp, and she swept everything off my desk onto the floor. Hearing her unreasonable outburst, I almost laughed. First of all, we're divorced. Whoever I'm with now is none of your business. Second, the capital market is a cutthroat competition for survival. No one is going to give you a free pass. I don't see anything wrong with what I'm doing. Camila pointed at me, furious. My grandfather saved your life, and the Moo family raised you all these years. Now you're turning around and competing against us for business. Just like before, she used the Moo family patriarch to pressure me. She thought I'd react like I had countless times before, helpless, frustrated, resigned, and ultimately forced to give in. I looked up and met her gaze. Camila, I no longer owe your grandfather anything. I've worked myself to the bone for Moo family for 12 years, repaying that debt. What more do I owe your family? My voice was cold, devoid of any emotion. Get out. Camila froze, unable to believe I would say something like that to her. Her arrogance disappeared instantly, and her voice softened as she choked back tears. What about the child? Even if you don't care about Moo Group or me, do you not care about our child? I stayed silent, lips pursed. She raised her voice, overcome with emotion. You don't care about the baby either. She sobbed uncontrollably, all her previous arrogance gone. I unclenched my fists, my tone softening slightly. Take good care of yourself during the pregnancy. Once the baby is born, I'll fulfill my responsibilities as a father. Seeing me slightly relent, Camila seemed to latch onto a lifeline. James, you wanted this child. You can't just walk away. You must remarry me, or I'll get rid of this child. Her expression was twisted, her eyes once again filled with that familiar, manipulative confidence. I couldn't help but feel disgusted, disappointed. If you don't want the baby, I'll respect your decision. The child was not only the last connection between me and Camila but also the last bit of security I had left for her future. If she didn't want that security, then I would let her go. I was no longer the man who would let the Moo family and Camila humiliate me at will. I left first, allowing Camila to destroy my office in a fit of rage. Chapter 12. Cheers, Mr. Liu. Laura raised her wine glass, clinking it against mine, financial report in hand. She looked at me with a beaming smile, clearly satisfied with my performance. During the time I had been helping her manage the company, several projects that were on the verge of collapse had been brought back to life under my leadership, earning the Lin family tens of millions in profit. Those shareholders at the main company who used to mock her had fallen silent. Every day after work, Laura would come and take me out to dinner. After a while, I got used to having her around. Ms. Lin, once this project is complete, I plan to cash out all my shares. I put down my chopsticks and gently expressed my desire to leave. Laura's smile immediately faded, replaced by anxiety. Is someone at the company giving you trouble? Tell me who it is, and I'll. It's not that. I shook my head. You and the Lin family have treated me very well. I'm not leaving because of work-related issues. It's just that I want to build something of my own. My years at the Mu family taught me one thing. If I truly wanted to be independent in Beijing, I needed to have something that was entirely my own. Otherwise, I'd never be fully free. Laura studied my expression, her gaze thoughtful, and eventually nodded in understanding. If you're ever interested, there will always be a high-paying position for you at the Lin family. I smiled at her, appreciating her offer. Just then, my phone rang. When I looked at the screen, it was Camila calling. With a sigh, I reluctantly answered. James, I'm at the hospital right now. Laura asked. Who is it? Camila's voice suddenly turned sharp. James, I'm giving you half an hour to get here. If you don't show up, you'll never see your child again. She hung up abruptly. With no other choice, I grabbed my coat and drove to meet her. Because of traffic, I arrived half an hour late at the address Camila had given me. I didn't want to have any more ties to her, but she was carrying my child. I had no choice. As soon as I reached the entrance to the department, I heard Ethan's concerned voice. Cammy, don't worry. Even if James doesn't come, I'll still be here with you. Camila, pale-faced, responded with a soft mm. I walked in, and the moment Camila saw me, her eyes turned red with self-pity. So you actually showed up. I thought I'd never see you again, but it doesn't matter. You won't have to see me anymore. Ethan pulled the blanket over her, his face full of concern. Cammy, you just had an abortion. Don't get upset. He then turned to me, his eyes filled with accusation. James, no matter what, that was your child. How could you abandon her at a time like this and be with another woman? Camila bit her lip, her voice trembling. Get him out of here. If he doesn't care, there's nothing left to say. Even though I had prepared myself, my mind still went blank for a moment. I couldn't believe it. Are you insane? Do you really think aborting the baby is good for you? Camila, you fool. I thought that, even if not for me or the Mu family, Camila would at least keep the baby. After all, it was her own flesh and blood, but reality had slapped me in the face. What mattered most to Camila was never me, and not even the Mu family, it was always Ethan. Chapter 13. After leaving the hospital, I cut off all contact with Camila and sold the shares Laura had given me, cashing out a large sum of money. I wanted nothing more than to leave this place and sever all ties with the Mu family. After many years of working in Beijing, I had built up connections and networks far beyond what most entrepreneurs could dream of. As a result, my new company's business progressed exceptionally well, and within a few years, it became a leader in the industry. Though not as massive as the Lin or Mu families, it was more than enough to secure my position. At the same time, my business with the Lin family continued to mutually benefit us, and my relationship with Laura gradually deepened. We began dining together, listening to classical music, and traveling together. I was slowly forgetting the pain Camila had caused me, focusing on living my life for myself. I heard that your ex-wife and Ethan will be attending the Lin family's banquet tonight. Laura straightened my collar, her eyes carefully observing my expression. After Camila and I divorced, the Mu family's business went through a period of decline. It wasn't until Camila married Ethan and the Liu family took over the Mu family's affairs that things started to improve. I looked at Laura, who was thoughtfully fixing my clothes, and gently kissed her on the forehead. She and I are long over. Hearing my answer, Laura didn't seem entirely pleased. Instead, she said, Camila and Ethan have been fighting constantly since they got married, and Ethan's mother isn't treating Camila well. She continued, watching my reaction closely. Word is that when Camila was pregnant, the baby was too far along. She insisted on having an abortion, which left her unable to conceive again. I interrupted her. All right, let's not talk about irrelevant people anymore. Seeing my attitude, Laura smiled gently and took my hand as we walked into the banquet hall. Chapter 14. Although my company isn't large yet, it's already a leader in the industry, and my relationship with the Lin family is exceptional. Because of this, many people at the banquet were eager to connect with me. After some conversations, I did manage to find a few promising business partners. Ethan, why would you bring Camila to the Su family banquet? What help can a woman who's never managed a company provide? I turned my head and saw Ethan walking in with his mother. Camila followed behind them, looking dazed. Her once delicate, charming face now looked deathly pale. Mom, Cammy is my wife. It's only right for me to bring her, Ethan replied seriously. Mrs. Lu scoffed at her son's words, turning away to chat with other wealthy daughters. I shook my head, not intending to have any contact with Camila or the Mu family. I was about to go find Laura, but before I could take 2 steps, I saw Mrs. Lu enthusiastically pulling Laura aside for a chat. Laura, you and Ethan are both leaders among the younger generation in Beijing. Our families should collaborate more in the future. Mrs. Lu looked at Laura with a gentle smile, completely different from how she had just treated Camila. Laura, however, didn't look pleased. She subtly moved Mrs. Lu's hand away. When I was in my 20s, I was already running my family's company day and night. I doubt Ethan, who took his sweet time studying abroad, would have much to say to me. Mrs. Lu's expression stiffened, but she forced a smile. It doesn't matter. Ethan is now a board member of several companies. I'm sure you'll have more in common. Seeing that Mrs. Lu still didn't know when to back off, Laura's face turned cold. Since Ethan has married the Mu family's daughter, maybe you should spend more time caring for your daughter-in-law rather than talking to me. With that, she walked over to me, took my hand, and led me away. I couldn't help but sigh. Ethan is at least polite. How does Mrs. Lu manage to be so irritating? Laura's expression remained calm. Probably because Camila can't have children. She's been wanting her son to divorce and remarry for a while now. Someone like Mrs. Lu, who has benefited from taking advantage of others, wouldn't easily hand over her family's legacy in the future. Driving Camila to divorce is just a matter of time. I sighed again at Laura's words. Laura looked disgusted. They use their son to latch onto someone when it's convenient, and once they're done, they kick them out. The Lu family is truly repulsive. Chapter 15. The banquet went by quickly. The guests gradually left, and I glanced at the clock on the wall, ready to leave with Laura. By chance, we ran into Camila arguing with Ethan at the entrance. Ethan, am I still your wife? Your mother publicly humiliated me at the banquet and was openly scouting for another wife for you, and you did nothing. Does your Lu family even see me as a person? Camila's face was drained of all color, and her lips were pale. Her eyes were filled with disappointment. Ethan's expression hardened as he grabbed her wrist. Let's talk about this at home. Camila pulled her hand away forcefully, standing firm. Let go of me. Since I married you, how many benefits has your Lu family gained from Mu Group? How much has your status improved? I've endured countless humiliations from your mother. Now that you've drained everything from the Mu family, I'm no longer needed, right? Hearing Camila's words, Ethan's temper flared as well. Camila, be honest. Without the Lu family stepping in, how long do you think Mu Group could have survived? As for my mother, she was wrong, and I'll make her apologize to you when we get home. Now can you stop throwing tantrums and come home with me? Camila's eyes reddened, and she let out a bitter laugh, stepping back. Tantrums, tantrums. You barely come home because of your work, and it's my fault for throwing tantrums. Your mother mocks me for not being able to have children, and that's also my fault. Her eyes filled with pain, and her voice trembled as she continued. And now, your Lu family publicly humiliates me, treating me as disposable. Is that also because of my tantrums? Ethan's face darkened as he took a deep breath. We'll discuss this at home, Camila. But something seemed to snap in Camila. She pointed at Ethan and shouted, "You're not even half as good to me as James was. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have lost my child. Your Lu family has been after the Mu family's assets from the start, trying to wipe us out." Hearing this, Ethan dropped all pretense and stormed out of the banquet, leaving Camila alone. Collapsing in tears, I watched the scene unfold, feeling as though everything was happening as expected, but I wasn't happy about it. Chapter 16. A few months later, Camila and Ethan divorced. Before the divorce, she visited the company a few times. She rallied the old members of the Mu family and took back control of Mu Group. When Mrs. Lu found out, she had a massive argument with Camila, but this time, Camila didn't cry or make a scene. She simply left the Lu family the next day. Without the Mu family's support, many of Ethan's business ventures crumbled. His decline was visible to everyone, but Camila didn't fare much better. Mu Group's scale shrank significantly, and it never regained its former glory. Meanwhile, my relationship with Laura progressed quickly, and we got engaged a month ago. Reflecting on everything that happened in the past 6 months, I sighed, placed the white chrysanthemum in front of the Mu patriarch's grave, bowed, and turned to leave. As I did, I saw Camila. She looked gaunt and pale, so much so that I barely recognized her. She saw me and hesitated before finally speaking. "You're here to see Grandpa too?" I nodded, not intending to say much. Camila grabbed my hand, trembling slightly. Her eyes were filled with pain and humility as she spoke. "James, I know I was wrong. I didn't cherish the good you gave me. It's all my fault. Can you give me another chance? Let's start over. Okay. Camila's empty eyes showed a glimmer of hope, her fingers gripping tightly. I looked at her calmly, without any emotion. Camila, we're over. Hearing my answer, it was as if all the strength drained out of her. She knelt in front of the Mu patriarch's grave, sobbing softly. I pulled my arm away and turned to leave, not sparing her another glance. Dark clouds hung in the sky, and a cool breeze blew past, yet I felt lighter than ever. The road ahead was long and full of obstacles, but finally, 12 years after leaving the Mu family support, I had truly been reborn.